Hello, Soul Spiralers. Welcome back to today's episode. Today, I have the amazing Peter Lintzeris here with me over the Zoom. We've got through of our ability to connect over the interwebs. And Pete is the owner of Alps water filters, and he is an advocate for clean, pure water and just living in a more conscious, spiritual, and nutritious way. So thank you so much for coming on the podcast, Pete.
Thank you for having me. It's great. It's great. I can't wait to, ask the questions.
Get into it. Yeah, I'm very excited to have you on, Pete. I'm sure we'll get into it later, but I often do some work to help Pete out with his business, and I have been using my Alps filter for so long, and I'm just know this man is such a wealth of knowledge in his many years that he has behind him in this industry. But usually what I ask people when they first come on the podcast, Pete, is for you to tell us a little bit about your story and a little bit about how you got into what you're into and how you became who you are sitting across from me today.
Okay. Well, many, many years ago. I'm only 21, by the way, but maybe it's... for as long as I can remember, old enough to carry a conversation, I would be challenging older brother, mom, dad, and anyone else that was prepared to listen. I just had this internal fire for knowledge, for information. And I would often question, I could never believe really in anything or anyone. I wanted answers. I wanted to question. I wanted to get to the truth. So I guess that's been my life, always questioning, always wanting to get to the truth. Yeah. Even when it's painful, I want to get to the truth. And I'm more than willing to accept all the growing pains that come with understanding and getting close to the truth. So from as young as 12 years old, I'd be there questioning parents. And of course, one of my very first questions was on a spiritual level, because I was brought up as a Greek Orthodox Christian, and a lot of things just didn't sit well with me. So I had to ask the question. And obviously, mom and dad knew very little. Then I went on talking to priests and other people, and always was engaged in, I felt this strong passion, desire for health. And that idea of health just doesn't sit on the physical platform alone. So I'd be looking physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, every possible way to get to the next level. Again, getting to the next level is accepting the truth when you can resonate with something or someone. There's so many philosophies, so many ideas. So for me, nothing was off the cards. Like everything was like, I'll delve into anything, whether it was Buddhism or Tao, or Hinduism, you name it. I was willing to ask the questions and listen. And the amount of reading and books I went through was just amazing. And look, I'm still longing for information. And as I'm getting older, sure, I'm more choosy, more picky about the information, but I'm continuously being challenged for new ideas, and ideas that I held close and precious, I've had to let go, even at the age of 60, to absorb new, fresh ideas. And I'm continuously being challenged. And I think if you're not being challenged, if you're not striving for growth, you're either dead or dying. So, my energy levels are great, and I continuously search for new information. So slowly, that passion, that interest of moving ahead and just getting into the truth led me into the health food industry. I thought, well, I need to do something for a living. Service station attendant wasn't going to cut it. Cheesemaker, which I tried, wasn't going to cut it. Postie wasn't going to cut it. A lot of things that I tried, a lot of different things, and school and the bureaucracy behind the teaching methods and so forth. Oh, it definitely was not for me. I challenged my teachers. I think I drove them crazy. I had to move on. So eventually I ended up with buying my first health food shop. And that was amazing. I've been in the health industry now doing organic 45 years now. So it's been amazing. It's been amazing. The last 7 years, we sold, my wife and I sold our last health food shop, but we kept our water filters. I've been drinking filtered water since I was about 15.
Wow.
And have used many kinds of water filters over the years, and a lot of information has come throughout that 45-year process, and it's been great. I mean, the learning experience of all these and adapting to new ideas, because I remember some 30 odd years ago when I came across reverse osmosis, for example. It was supposed to be the ultimate thing in removing chemicals, so everyone jumped on that.
Yeah.
Something didn't quite resonate right with me, and I avoided it. And sure enough, in time, we found out that when you force the water molecule through a tight membrane, you cause so much damage. If only people would understand what water is all about. We can, for example, we can take the physical chemical out by forcing water through a membrane of such. Apart from the damage we are doing to the water molecule, the other thing we are doing or not doing is we're not really removing the damage that water is doing to us, because even though we have removed the physical chemical out, energetically, we haven't achieved anything. Because when we drink this water that's had the physical chemical taken out, drinking this water will taste better, but in actual fact, energetically, it will still cause the same damage. Water carries memory, carries information. So removing the physical chemical does nothing to remove the imprint of the chemical, the imprint that the chemicals have left behind. So once the water has been in contact with the chemicals, we remove the physical chemical by using a good water filter, but the imprint of those chemicals is still in the water. So we need something to wipe that memory clean, then reinstall good, high quality memory, meaning the right memory, as you would find in spring water. Spring water is rainwater that's fallen through the clouds, down onto the trees, into the land. It's done a full cycle through the minerals of the dirt. It's getting filtered, energized, and only when it's ready does it come out through a spring. So if you see a spring bubbling away and you drink that water, that is perfect, energized water. It might not be the cleanest since we've polluted everything, but that frequency, that energy in that spring water will still override some of the impurities that we find in spring water. You'll never find perfect 100% water. What we'll find is the closest perfect water to nature. And most people that get involved in water filtration, that's what they're trying to achieve. Unfortunately, a lot of them don't understand. If they don't do a lot of research on what is good water, filtered water, they regard as clean water, but it's still dead water. If it doesn't have the right frequency, if it doesn't carry that energy, doesn't carry that information, only then can the body hydrate correctly. So I tell people that even if you don't filter your water, all you do is energize your water. By energizing, you're restructuring water. Therefore, you will restructure any chemical in that water. So even when you're drinking this water with the chemicals still in them, because you've restructured the chemicals, the name they give to them now is inert. The chemicals become inert, meaning they can no longer hold on to the tissue of the body. They can accumulate in your system. The body flushes them straight through. But the memory, the frequency of this water is so good that the communication between the water molecule and the cells in your body is excellent. These are the trigger mechanisms to open up the cells to let fresh water come in, and this water will carry oxygen and nutrients coming from your diet. They come through the blood, into the cells and they take the garbage out. So if you're not using or trying to get your water at that high energy level, changing that structure, raising the frequency, you're not hydrating. If you want to hydrate correctly, you got to have energized water.
Yeah.
There's something also in your body called respiration. Respiration is the ability for the body to breathe. Now, the cells breathe when we put good quality frequency in the water. So when the water brings in oxygen, the cells breathe. If we're not creating respiration, we can't prevent disease, we can't treat disease. When you got perfect respiration, cancer can't happen. Cancer happens because the body is not breathing, the cells can't breathe. A lot more cells now are dying and falling back into a cesspool, since if you're not hydrating, we said before earlier that you can't remove the toxins out.
Yeah.
So if respiration is not happening, oxygen, nutrients in and toxins out is not happening. So more cells are dying in this cesspool, falling back into the cesspool, creating an extremely acidic condition. And in this environment, a lot of cells mutate. Instead of dying, they mutate and turn into cancer.
Yeah, wow.
The tumors begin to grow because we've stopped the respiration. So we need this frequency in water to hydrate correctly, to get respiration, let the cells breathe. So very important to understand the full concept of water, not just, oh yeah, I'm using, because you can buy a cheap Brita water filter from the supermarket.
Yeah.
It actually costs you more to run in 12 months than our system. But the initial purchase price, you just pick it up for $20, $30, whatever they are at the supermarket, maybe more now. But people shouldn't be looking at that price tag being small. Oh, it's cheaper, I'll buy this one. Cheap doesn't mean okay. Cheap just means cheap.
Yeah.
I've filed to understand how people think sometimes, but it's reality.
It sounds like this really important aspect of bringing the life force into the water, not only filtering the water, but bringing the life force into the water is where the true hydration
Absolutely.
comes from.
Yeah.
And like you said, I really agree with that aspect of needing to fully be able to be oxygenated to be healthy. I had a lady on recently who does live blood analysis, and she talks all about the true health comes from when we have truly oxygenated blood, and the problems and the health conditions arise when we don't have that oxygen flowing through our system. So really that oxygenation of the system is the most important thing. And that flows so quickly into water because they're so intricately connected, right?
Well, it's the water that will actually carry the oxygen into the blood, and the blood then takes it to every cell in the body. So a good brisk walk to get the heart pumping, or harder if you're healthy enough and strong enough to go for a little jog, a little sprint, or just basically do some heavy gardening. That'll get things going. There's many ways. You can do 20 push-ups and you'll be huffing and puffing. You've got the oxygen coming into the system, but is the body having the right fluid to carry it into the blood and into the cells? So again, yes, we want to bring oxygen in. Very, very important, because oxygen in the blood will also alkalize the body. It puts you in the right chemistry to create respiration, the body's ability to breathe. So the body's ability to breathe starts with the right frequency in your water. Then the exercise and a good nutritional diet, it's a home run.
Yeah, exactly.
It sounds easy, but as many people are finding that, I guess it's getting proper instruction, easy instruction to understand how can I achieve this. So if we're starting with good quality water, the right frequency in the water, that's why we include our prill beads as an optional extra. Prill beads are a must. Good water filtration, yes, You'll make your water taste great, but without the prill beads to help raise that frequency. Also, the prill beads will also keep your water alkaline. But I want to try and explain to people that whether your water is alkaline or neutral or slightly acidic, irrelevant. If your water is highly energized, that's the target. That's what you should be aiming for, highly energized water.
Mm-hmm. Slightly
alkaline, that's the cherry on top. That's fine, but not as important as the frequency. Get that energy in the water.
It sounds like as well, like obviously you're talking a lot about the frequency there, but if there's chemicals in that water, that's going to lower the frequency down. So you're not going to, and then as a by proxy, you end up also receiving chemicals and heavy metals and things like that in your system. So would you say that's the main reason why we need to filter our water? Or
absolutely. Look, you can ask a lot from something like Natural Action Technologies units, which we also carry on our website. So our prill beads and the Natural Action Technology units, which they do a shower, they do the little potable, which is amazing. And of course, the whole house structurizer, where all the water coming into your house is structured instantly.
Yeah.
But when you put it through your Alps water filter, yes, there is a certain advantage of removing heavy metals, removing chemicals and toxins and impurities, and then energizing your water. Amazing. Or energize it by having a whole house structurizer, goes through your Alps water filter, removing all the nasties, and prill beads to continue energizing your water. It's a win-win. I use them all. I use I started off with the water filters. Obviously, I eventually found out Natural Action Technologies, which I got their shower head.
I have their shower head too. I love it.
It's fantastic. People can see it on their skin, washing their hair,
it's
how
softer.
the salt works. It's softer. It's amazing. It's amazing. A wonderful system. I even have friends that do a lot of wine drinking, and they pour it through the potable because they can take it to a restaurant.
Oh, yeah.
And whenever I do a test with people, and I actually run it through the potable 3 or 4 times, but I'll take it half a glass first from the wine bottle, leave that aside, and put the rest through the potable unit, put it through at least 3 times. Then I ask them to taste both, and they always pick up, yes, there's a difference.
Wow.
Yes, one is smoother and mellower. And the big advantage is if you're not drinking an organic wine, which is preservative-free, the normal wines with preservatives, when you've put it through the structurizer, the little potable Natural Action Technologies unit, it changes the structure of the preservative. So when they wake up in the morning, there's not a hangover. The body has processed it much, much faster. That's not to mean that you should be drinking more, but for the people that are going to drink that bottle of wine, it's a must. Not just wine. You might put it through and do your scotch, brandy, vodka, whatever it is. If people are drinking, put it through the potable. It's amazing stuff.
So whether you're drinking alcohol or whether you're drinking water, you're saying that the structurizer, it energizes the water because it changes the structure of the chemicals to be inert, so they're not impacting you negatively.
Exactly.
Correct?
You can put anything through your structurizer as long as it's fluid enough to go through.
Yeah.
I've done it with olive oil, definitely wine, other alcohols. I'll have to do my colloidal silver. If I can put it through it, if it's going to go through, I do it, and there's a good result.
I'll have to do my brandy that I do the flower essences for through the structurizer. So I hadn't thought of that. Thanks for that tip, Pete. But I wanted to go back to that reverse osmosis for a second, because I know that the reverse osmosis, it's like there's almost like a forcing of the molecule through. Do you think that creates trauma in the water as well, which then adds to the issue? So it ends up, again, kind of canceling out the whole process?
Okay. Reverse osmosis uses the tightest of membranes to force the water through. In fact, 80% of the water you put through goes down the drain pipe.
Yeah.
So they're not very good for the environment.
Yeah.
First of all, when you force water through a membrane, and reverse osmosis is the tightest of membranes. That's why also they can say we remove more chemicals than anyone else. Yes, they do. But when you look at the structure of a water molecule that's gone through reverse osmosis, it's
bad.
a disaster.
Wow.
It strips away every natural memory water has. It's ugly.
Yeah.
It's ugly.
Yeah.
They've, in the last, I don't know how many, in the last 5 years, could be more, they've actually started putting back magnesium, because it takes out all magnesium.
Yeah. And
in fact, in countries that depend on reverse osmosis for, we too have one in Victoria, the desalination plant. All desalination plants around the world are based on reverse osmosis.
Yeah, okay.
Israel is one country that gets, I think, about 75 or 80% of their water through desalination. People are dying with cardiovascular problems because there's no magnesium in the water. And all the government can say is, we would do it, but it's too expensive. Yeah. So people are forced to buy magnesium tablets to put back the magnesium that is stripped out by using reverse osmosis. Every article that I've read that is a genuine, truthful article that's not written by the company that produces reverse osmosis just gives it a thumbs down, big time. So if you are going to use, or if you are using reverse osmosis, at least get the prill beads, get the mineral stones to put back the minerals and change the structure of water. Don't drink reverse osmosis straight out of the filter. It's a disaster. And if you ever look at the book by Emoto,
I love that book.
Okay, he freezes the water molecule after it's gone through a particular filter or whatever, or through spring water.
Yeah.
And he shows you what it looks like when it's gone through reverse osmosis compared to spring water or a good filter that's been highly energized. And the structure of the two could not be different. It's amazing. When people see that, they realize something has gone wrong through that process of...
He's amazing. Masaru Emoto. That hidden messages in water. I love some of the experiments that he's done on photographing the water molecule after playing it music or saying thank you or I love you, and having that energy in the water actually changes the structure, which means it's better for us. It's amazing. So amazing.
Absolutely. They've done this in Japanese schools where they've actually put a jar of brown rice outside the classroom
in water,
and they've run the experiment where they do it to 2 classrooms. One classroom, all students walking past that jar of brown rice would say wonderful things like, I love you, you're the best, you're the greatest, thank you. And on the other side, it's all the nasties. You're ugly, you're terrible, you're bad, you're just all the nasty words you can imagine. And in 1 month,
the difference,
the one that's getting all the bad frequencies turns black. And it begins to decay. The other one turns golden brown. They've done this with water.
Like ferments, doesn't it? But have you heard the one as well where they do another one where they ignore it completely and it actually becomes even worse than the one that they said all the mean things to? So it talks about so important to give love to our water and ourselves. How much of are we made up of water?
Absolutely. Absolutely. There are growers that have a vegetable patch that play beautiful classical music gently.
Oh my gosh, I love
and
that.
Their plants thrive.
Also,
the people from Natural Action Technologies and the people from the prill beads, they show the 2 different experiments from tap water and prill water or Natural Action Technology water. And the plants have doubled and sometimes even tripled in size by the two different watering.
I love
Yeah,
that.
it's
So cool.
It's fantastic.
I'm going to be playing Mozart to my tomatoes later today.
Headphones for every tomato.
Yeah. So, I mean, you talked a little bit about like your experience of like where you've come from. How did you get into filtering water? Was it just through working through the health food industry and the health food shops that you were like, you learned about it? Like did it occur to you?
Well, when I first bought my first health food shop, already I knew a lot. I've been reading for quite a number of years.
Yeah.
Since I was 12.
Oh yeah, you said you were 15 filtering your water, weren't you?
Yeah. But when I bought my first health food shop at 21, 22 years of age,
yeah,
even though I thought I knew a lot, customers came in asking all kinds of questions, which I had no idea.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, how did I get it so wrong? I thought I knew a lot, but I knew a lot about the interests that interested me.
Yeah.
My passions. So when I got a 70, 80-year-old saying I've got arthritis, I'm thinking, oh shit. I mean, arthritis? Okay. I started hitting the books on every subject. So that forced me to take my game to the next level, because I've always seen myself as a serious student of my life. And when someone asks me a question that I don't know, that's a slap in the face for me.
That's because you're an Aquarius.
Yeah. My ego takes a belting. So I make it my passion to get back into the books and start cross-examining information and getting to the truth. I'd love to say that I know everything, or even a little bit everything, and that's not the case. I often tell people that I've met naturopaths that they say to me they're qualified, they've done all this study, and my response to them is, did you read the latest on vitamin C this morning? And their reply is no. Then I said, well, you're already outdated. So the studying never stops.
Oh, 100%. They say, a friend told me this morning that most scientific studies, within 7 years, they're debunked or they change. So it's like you constantly got to be on the forefront of it.
Exactly. Look, many people have put me in my place many a times because I was thinking like that. Something I'd studied 10 years ago, and that was for protein and the bodybuilding and what we know now about protein and muscle building and so forth is so different, and we had it so wrong.
Yeah.
Look, and I'm never embarrassed to say, yeah, I had it all wrong, but it was the best information we were getting at the time by people that do clinical trials and studies and so forth, and how they can get it so wrong with clinical studies. You think, hang on, where were we? Where was our technology 10, 20 years ago? Yeah. Why is it that clinical study now is so much more advanced than it was even 2 years ago?
Yeah. So
we need to keep reinventing ourselves continuously and never say never. It always comes back to bite you big time.
Definitely.
So yeah, look, the health food industry has been amazing for me because I would get such amazing customers that have studied a particular something, which I haven't had the time to study on every matter. And I learned just as much, maybe even more. I learned more from my clientele than they learned from me, even though they respected me like a guru for them. And I would often say, hey, guys, I've just studied and I'll continue to study. But it's been a wonderful exchange of energy with people. You always have to be humble to say that I learned more from one of my clients than what they learned from me. Yeah. And that's been the case many a times. I love it. It's been like the industry has just been wonderful. Sure, you met a few. Yeah. But hey, that's again, how do you handle a person that has a certain belief and they're not prepared to change that belief. It's got to give them time.
Yeah.
Got to give them time. And one of my biggest lessons in life has been about criticizing and judging other people, which I'm an expert at it. You know, I try so hard to sometimes, just show love and acceptance.
Yeah.
Show love and acceptance. If you think you know better, you would have more love and acceptance. Stop judging and criticizing.
Yeah.
And I've eaten so much humble pie. And I'm continuing to eat humble pie.
It's always the
great.
journey, isn't it?
Yep, it's all part of the journey. Never think of yourself as that high level. We're all trying to evolve, and you tend to grow much faster when you can put the ego aside and move forward with good people around, good energy. You are not better. I recall some 20 odd years ago, maybe more. I was working with a company selling lactic acid bacteria, and this fermentation was done in Japan. So it was a wonderful company, and the founder was a Buddhist monk. So in one of the presentations, he had brought a few Buddhist monks along. That night, I gave a presentation, and later in the foyer, as I turned my head up, I see one of the monks is looking at me, I'm looking at him, we connect with our eyes, and he's somehow I knew he was giving me a signal to come over. So I got over. He says to me, "Peter, I heard your presentation. You're very, very intelligent. I sense that you're a very unique person. I like your ideas." And he was just building me up, and my head was growing and growing and growing. And after "You truly are amazing," there was a little pause. Then he looks at me right in the eyes and says, "Just like the rest of us."
I love it.
It was, look, I've been very lucky to be in the presence of such wonderful people that can help me, and they have helped me understand how to eat humble pie. And he was great. He was great. And look, I love it. I love it when people can challenge me, challenge my ideas, my thoughts, and make me look even further into the truth.
Yeah.
Because often we think we know the truth. We think we've got it, and that's it. And you realize a year later, 2 years, 5, 10 years later, I don't care how much later it takes, there's a version superior to the one that you've just come up with.
Yeah.
That was 20 years ago.
What was I thinking?
Yeah.
Who was I?
How did I get it so wrong? But it's great. As long as a person is prepared to accept these new ideas, and it's like someone's forcing you to go down the rabbit hole and search for a better truth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The truth bringer, Mr. Peter Lintzeris. What made you choose to stick with just the water filters? Obviously, you were in the health food industry. You're working in a beautiful health food shop, where that's how I was originally connected to you, through my mother-in-law. And what made you decide just to go with the water filters, you and Sue?
Okay, about 3-4 years before we sold it, our very last health food shop, we thought we had enough. We were getting on, and we thought, you know what, let's tone it down a little bit. Let's sell the shop. There's so many personal interests and passions we want to fulfill in our lives.
Yeah.
The children were busy with grandchildren, so we wanted to spend more time there.
Yeah.
But the bills keep coming.
Yeah.
one of my customers, not one of my customers, one of my wholesalers was actually selling the Alps water filters.
Yeah.
And he rang me up one day and said, "Pete, you're not buying my water filters." I said, "Look, I've got 20 different brands. I specialize in water filters." I said, "But I do not need a 21st or 21 different brands of water filtration. I'm doing really well with what I've got."
Yeah.
I said, "Is it something special that you have?" He says, "I think so." He explained to me about gravity-fed filtration.
Mm.
And he gave me a few ideas, and I began to study a little bit more into it and realized that when we force water through a membrane to filter it, we are causing damage.
Yeah.
So I thought, well, how does nature do it? Nature is gravity-fed filtration. So the water falls from the sky onto the plants, into the soil, and gravity does its job. It filters it through, takes it through all the layers of minerals and will they be granite, all kinds of sand and so forth, and out comes perfectly mineralized, filtered water. And I thought, if I could imitate nature, this would be it.
Yeah.
Because gravity does the work. So we have a ceramic component to start the process. That filters down to 0.2 of a micron.
Mm-hmm.
Then we have a 6-stage filter cartridge that the water goes through slowly. And that starts the removal of chlorines, fluorides, pesticides, herbicides. Look, there's a lot of chemical and toxin it removes.
Yeah.
Does it remove everything on the planet? No. And there are chemicals produced daily. And for anyone to run a test on every single chemical and toxin and impurity will send you bankrupt. You'll never have a business unless you're a billionaire and you're doing this for fun. Okay, you might have. And the other thing we found was when we're getting a water filter tested, we're finding a lot of the testing places that test for filtration, these clinics as such, there's no industry standard. There's no government standard. It's almost like the governments don't want you to know what's in the water supply, which is scary. I have found 2 individuals that have worked for the waterways, and the stories they told me was very, very concerning. Yeah. Especially when they have to sign off on a clause of confidentiality agreement that while they're working there and 30 years after, they can't divulge any information. Wow. So if they get caught talking to people about what types of chemicals they're putting in the water before that 30-year expires, they're in trouble. Wow. They're in trouble. So it's important that people do their own homework and really get yourself a good water filter and energizer. You need to energize the water. So that's been gravity fed. There's a reason why we chose that to keep for ourselves. So we sold the business, but we didn't sell the business of this particular water filter. And when we left the shop, one of our first trips was Korea. They're made in Korea. They're using Korean and American products and materials. We don't buy any material from places like, well, look, I know we give China a bad rep, and it's not their fault. It's people from the West going to China saying, "Can you make me this? Can you do it cheaper? Can you do it cheaper? Can you cut corners?" So it's people and greed, stupidity that create these issues, because China can make top-end products. Yeah, providing you ask for a top-end product. Exactly. Having said that, I did actually get a Chinese company contact me, and they said that they could supply me a filter system that looks like ours with all the filtration components for $9.95 delivered to my door. I'm thinking, this is ridiculous.
That sounds a bit iffy.
And I've had people say to me, well, how can you prove that yours is better than this product that sells for $100 and you're selling yours for $400 and $500?
Yeah, buy both and use it and you'll see.
Exactly. And I was thankful that one of my customers didn't believe me. She did buy the cheap Chinese product. Mm-hmm. Lasted 2 weeks, was totally disgusted.
Yeah.
Rang me back after buying it. I said, look, I now understand what you were trying to say. Some people have to experience it.
Yeah. I had a friend buy one as well, and the water just tasted disgusting the whole time.
I mean, I cannot buy one filter cartridge of ours for the full price they're charging for the complete unit. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, look, yeah. Oils and oils.
You know, yeah, like you say, some people need to go through that experience to realize buy it nice or buy it twice. That's what Alex's dad used to always say.
That's it. That's it.
What
look, it's a great lesson for if you've spent $100 to buy this product and you've learned that, then it's a wonderful. Who says money doesn't buy experience? Exactly. Buys lessons.
It does. Absolutely. It does. And so you have the ceramic dome, and then you have the 6-stage cartridge that has all the different active alumina and different things like that to filter out the fluoride, the heavy metals, all the chemicals that we can have tested, let's say. Yeah. And then you have the mineral stones in there that re-mineralize the water, because that's another big part, is like you can filter all this water like you could filter water with a filter, but if you're not re-mineralizing it, it's pretty much like it's dead water, isn't it?
Yes. And look, some people do get caught up in the whole thing of minerals and say to me, well, if I have low iron, will this help correct it? And I'm saying, well, look, no.
Yeah.
You're getting trace minerals. Mm-hmm. There's over 400 different trace minerals, and it changes with every batch because it's a natural product. Yes, it's man-made, but they go to different volcanoes and take different vines of the volcanic run, and there's different rocks and components. So there'll be granite here, a bit of marble there, other stones and rocks that have molted in. Yeah. And they get a variety of all these stones and granites and crush them together into powder, and with pressure make this remineralizing stone. But it's never the same or exactly the same every time. It's just to give an array of minerals, trace minerals. Yeah. So if you're low in magnesium, no, you will not get your magnesium levels up by drinking.
Yeah, but it should create the equilibrium of like what the homeostasis of what you would have if you had balanced levels.
Exactly. Yeah. If your rainwater fell on the earth, you can go around Australia and you can analyze 100 different springs in every state.
Yeah.
You will find for every spring will be different.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And so what about distilled water, Pete? I know there's a bit of a trend recently where distilled water is coming back in to say that that's the optimum water, but that's really dead water, isn't it?
Look, at the end of the day, if you haven't done the energy work in the water, it's dead water.
Yeah.
The only example that, well, it's a difficult one.
Yeah.
Because again, unless someone starts running clinical trials on distilled water, I say if you're going to drink distilled water and you've bought into the idea that distilled water is the ultimate water, you still need to do some homework, because the equipment that are used to make distilled water, so it's stainless steel. Yes, but the stainless steel they're using is 1810. Find out what stainless steel they're using in the boilers and so forth. 1810 is not clean stainless steel unless you're using pharmaceutical, surgical steel. That's 100% stainless steel. That won't leach out any impurities.
So you're getting heavy metals in this distilled water otherwise.
Yes, nickel being the most nasty one of all.
Yeah.
Now, once they make distilled water, it still has to go through a carbon filter or some other type of good filtration to remove any deposits of anything that's come out of the so-called stainless steel, which is not pure. And they can check that very easily. After that process, you still need your prill beads or your natural action technology to energize your water correctly.
Yeah.
Is distilled water bad? No, but we say compared to what? Compared to reverse osmosis, it's amazing water. So I would take distilled water over reverse osmosis 100%. Absolutely. Is it better than Alps water? Look, when people put me on the spot like that, I can say, look, you need to do the homework. You need to understand what you're doing. But if you're going to stick with distilled water, then energize it. Energize it. Absolutely.
So you're talking so much about these prill beads, and people are probably like, what the heck is a prill bead? It's a small little mineral, isn't it?
Well, what they do, Jim Carter, the man who, what can I say, invented or discovered, yes, prill beads. He hasn't given his full explanation exactly what it is. He's protecting his baby. I mean, this is his livelihood. And this is a natural process. So my understanding is that there is clean or filtered ocean water. He goes to the best parts, the cleanest water in the ocean, which ocean has that. In America, there is what he calls a prill rock, and there's only, I think, 2 deposits that we know of in America that he knows of. We don't know where exactly. So there's the other component is magnesium oxide. So there's magnesium oxide, this special prill rock, and ocean water. Now these come together. There is a fusion process that happens. Exactly what this fusion, how it takes place, no one knows, except the man. Many scientists have looked at his water. He said, we can see it's different. We can analyze its energy and so forth. We can't prove how this is done. All they say is that they put their hands in the air, say, okay, it's different. It's energized. But a scientist hasn't learned how the body works, hasn't understand what are the frequencies that the body will respond to.
Well, not in every instance,
Exactly.
So many variations.
Exactly. I mean, if you're sleeping on Mother Nature, if you're sleeping on the sand, on the soil, when you're earthing and removing electromagnetic fields and all this stuff that you have absorbed, when you walk on the beach and you feel invigorated, you are earthing. When you earth, the earthing that you do removes all these electromagnetic fields out of your body. You know, when you touch someone and you get a static charge. Okay, you need to walk barefooted on soil, on grass or sand to remove this from your body.
So is it like
this
the negative ions?
A lot of information. Sorry?
Is it like the negative ion, like neutralizing like the positive and negative ions within the body?
Yes. When you're at the beach and the waves are crashing, that crashing of the waves produces negative ions. The negative ions are searching for the positively charged ions, which are the pollutants, the toxins, this radiation, magnetic fields. So if you're using a Himalayan salt lamp, for example, that's producing negative ions, absorbing the positive ions near your computer, all the radiation from the power points, etc., etc. So yes. So getting to understand these issues of earthing and removing and energizing in your water is exactly the same. How we're going to energize this water? How do we take it to the next level?
Yeah.
I've kind of lost my train of thought there.
It makes sense to me what you're saying, though. It's like the same concept of earthing and like the scientific research and like proof that we've had around like putting your bare feet on the earth for like a certain period of the day. These prill beads create the same effect in the water that we're drinking. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah. Without that frequency, we're not doing our job correctly. So the ions, negative to positive, everything has an energy part to play.
Definitely. I love that. And I know that you often speak about being able to even just put your prill beads in your bottled water, especially if you're going to be out and about. Like you can have an extra bag to, you know, put in different containers and things like that you're using as well. Like you're saying that the structurizer, or passing the liquid through that to structurize and energize, you can do the same thing by putting the prill in other objects, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
When I travel, the portable structurizer and my bags of prill beads, they come with me.
Yeah.
Everywhere I go.
Amazing.
Especially if you're flying somewhere overseas and so forth, you're not going to carry a whole water filter system unit with you. So
unless you're Alex Tyson.
Yeah.
It's been multiple times that he's taken a whole water filter in his suitcase.
Look, if
we're committed.
If you can manage it, by all means.
And the shower structurizer as well in the hotel.
Yeah. So if I'm going overseas, my shower structurizer comes with me, my portable comes with me, and my prill beads. The prill beads, it's a must. Yeah, they light, they're easy to carry, and one bag in 650, 800, 1 liter bottle with a large neck, so you can actually drop them in. Perfect. Perfect.
So good.
Yeah,
I love that.
It's the best travel companion.
Yeah. Amazing. I have some questions to ask you, Pete. Are you ready for my fun podcast questions? What we know, we've established that your sun sign was Aquarius, like me. Do you remember your moon and your rising sign?
No.
We've had this chat before, Pete. Come on.
No, I haven't. I've been very, very busy. I did go and have a numerology done.
Oh, what's your numerology?
See, again,
now you can't even remember, can you?
No, I can't. It was he gave me so much information, blew me away.
And then it's almost too much information. You can't even remember what you got out of it. Yeah, no,
exactly.
Right.
But what came out of it was you're not learning fast enough.
Oh, what? You're the avid learner over here.
I try and learn too many subjects and don't focus on few. So I am a jack of all trades and a master of none.
No, and I heard someone say the other day about that line. It's like don't be a jack. You can be a jack of all trades or a master of none. But there's another line after that. It says, but to be a master of none is to be like a pity. So it's like still go and do the things. I really liked that. I'm gonna look up your star sign. Hold on a sec. We'll learn this moon and rising signs. And you were born where?
Greece.
Yeah, but whereabouts in Greece?
Yithio, Sparta.
Sparta? Okay, let's have a look. So your moon is in Pisces and your rising is that Scorpio? Yeah, your rising is in Scorpio. That kind of makes sense to me, actually.
Okay.
But the Pisces is such a talker. The Pisces coming through there, and the romanticism of Pisces kind of comes out as well. The dreamer within you.
Yes.
That's your emotions, your internal world.
I do dream. The perfection of what one can achieve, and often
I think that's more the Aquarius and Scorpio. And your gregariousness, like you're quite good at chatting to people. I think that's also that Scorpio kind of coming out too. The death and rebirth though is Scorpio.
Okay.
That constant changing and evolution.
If only I could remember everything I learned in the past life, so I don't have to relearn it in this life. There's just never enough time. Never enough time.
Yeah. What's your favorite fruit, Pete?
Fruit? Oh, look, mango ranks very high.
Yeah. I think you and I have had this conversation before because I knew you were going to say mango.
Look, it's
I feel like I could eat mango every meal, but other fruits I couldn't eat every meal.
Yes, I find that I love when I'm in Greece and I get into the figs. But if I have them for more than 2 weeks in every day on a daily basis, that's enough. That's enough. Whereas mangoes, yes. Yeah, every day, no issue. Obviously, better in the warmer weather than in the colder weather, but
definitely. If you could return to one moment in your life and re-experience it again, so like you could, feel everything that you felt and see everything that you saw, what would you go back to?
Oh, that's a tough one. Go back. I want to go back thousands of years. And
you don't want to go in this life. You want to go to the next other lives.
On everything that I've forgotten in this lifetime. If I had to go back and experience one moment, well, look, the thing that sticks out that I've been longing for a while since the lockdowns. There was a time that I hadn't been back to the motherland in Greece, and when I got there, for some reason, it was about three or 5 days by the time I got to make it to the beach.
Wow.
And when I got there and fell in the water, I was so energized. It was so amazing. I thought my soul just kicked into overdrive. It was just like an uplifting, amazing rebirthing. And I'm longing for that. I'm longing for that. That to walk on that warm sand and to fall into this beautiful water. It's like Mother Nature just held me in her hand and just,
I love it. It sounds so euphoric when you describe it.
That was just, and I actually stood in the water and just fell into the water. Didn't dive in, just fell into the water and was just, nurturing, just amazing. I'm longing for that.
Yeah. Would you choose the forest or the ocean?
My wife has been the one always pushing for the ocean.
Yeah.
And I've always pushed for the mountain.
Yeah.
I've experienced both to a certain extent. I would hate to have to choose. I love them both. And a lot of the beaches in Greece, you're in the beach, on the beach, swimming in the water, and you look back and you're on the sides and you see mountains. So you're in a perfect environment. And I have a house in the village, which is about a 20-minute drive away from the ocean. So I get to experience waking up in the mountain, experiencing in the winter times lighting the fire, and experiencing the rain and the snow-capped mountains, and then to go to the beach only 20 minutes away, some of the best beaches in the world. Look, I would hate to have to choose. But if I was stuck in one place or the other, I'd be at home. I'd be at home. I think my energies are just as good in the mountain as they are to walk in the snow, to go trekking through the mountains, the wildlife, and the ocean. Look,
it's hard to choose.
Take a good umbrella, take your lunch, and a good book and some music, and we spend 4 hours easily. Easily. And we can do this every day. It's amazing. It's amazing.
Do you have a plant or a herb or a flower that you work with the most?
Arnica.
Yeah.
Arnica, I give my body quite a belting very often, gardening, and I'm talking about digging and bringing in good soil, and it gets quite vigorous.
Yeah.
And often even with exercise, if I've overdone it, Arnica is my best friend.
I love it. I love it. Such a special herb.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite crystal?
No, I've not really gotten really involved with crystals.
Yeah.
If you can say that the Himalayan salt lamps are a form of crystal, I like that. I haven't done enough work with the crystals I've had people use crystals on me, and I love it. I did carry in my pocket for quite a while a black crystal called Apache Tears.
That's an interesting choice.
Mm.
It's not a very commonly chosen.
I resonate a lot with the ancient warriors.
Yeah.
Coming from a Spartan background, and we are part of that warrior ethnic. I love a good fight.
Yeah.
That's why when someone says, especially in the government's telling me 10 left, I got a 10 right.
Yeah, you need the challenge.
Absolutely. I need to find out for myself. And it takes a bit to make me trust and believe in something. I wanna challenge every avenue before I commit.
I feel you.
Yeah.
If you're an animal, what would you be, or do you have a spirit animal?
Look, from a young kid, I somehow thought tiger. Tiger had something to,
I like it. I could see the tiger in the mountains, even like a white tiger in the mountains. Be Peter.
Yeah.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for our chat today, Pete. I've had so much fun. I love picking your brain.
No worries. I loved it. Thank you for the invitation. It's great.
Now, if people want to get in touch with you or they want to buy an Alps water filter, what's the best way for them to reach out?
Well, look, we have a website, alpswaterfilters.com.au. On that website, get into it, click everything.
Yeah.
You can also go onto YouTube and punch up, if you Google
Alps water filter.
Alps water filters, YouTube videos. I've done a dozen or so.
Yeah.
If you want to see my face again, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
And look, I think the videos are good value because you can watch them over and over again, get a lot of information.
Yeah. I'll have to do some new ones.
And there's a phone number there if you want to get a bit more specific with me. Call me. We can have a chat.
Yeah. So on the website, there's the contact for email, for phone number. There's also the ability to sign up to the mailing list, and you can get 10% off your first water filter, which is pretty epic.
Yes. Yeah.
Amazing.
Look, often some people say to me, can we please, like a health food shop would ring me and say, can we stock your water filters?
Yeah.
So look, yes, you can stock our water filters and sell our water filters, but I say to them, look, why don't you buy one for yourself?
Yeah.
Use it, get to understand it. Talk to me a few times, call me back with questions. Once you truly love and you're passionate about the product, then I'm happy to supply you with the product.
Yeah. Fall in love with it first.
Yes, I want people that talk with passion, that understand. If you're not passionate about something, like I hear a lot of people saying to me, I hate my job. I've never understood that. Why would you be in that job? Do something that you're passionate about.
Yeah, especially we live in a world now that you can pretty much make a job out of anything. So why not chase the dreams you have, hey?
Absolutely. I mean, look, I'm in the process of bringing high quality olive oil from Greece. It'll be...
This is your real passion.
Yes. And, you know, I speak to even Greeks that have been dealing with olive oil for many years, and they still don't understand quality olive oil.
Yeah. I've tried your olive oil that you bring in. It's pretty amazing.
Yep. And every year it's getting better because I'm working with a person that understands me, understands this frequency that I'm trying to achieve.
Yeah.
And especially like early harvest, everyone waits until the olives are fully ripened on the tree. When they press those olives, they get a lot of olive oil, but the quality is so low. All the antioxidants have gone.
Yeah.
If you focus on an early harvest, you'll lose about 30% of your olive oil.
Wow.
But the nutritional factor, the antioxidant factor, is tenfold, if not 100. Like, people need to understand.
We'll have to do another episode. We'll have to do another episode on the olive oil.
Yes.
Maybe we'll get Miriam on board too. She'd be stoked.
Excellent.
Oh, thank you so much, Pete.
I'll be glad to come on the next one. So let me know when.
Amazing.